Hi, my name is Morgan Metzler, and in this video I'm going to be discussing 3 or 4 concepts that I've learned in HD 302 that are going to help me professionally or personally and that I've really enjoyed about this class. Okay, first off, I want to talk about attachment styles and parenting styles. I grouped them together because we talked about both of them a lot, and I think they're really, really important because they can really shape who you become. Your attachment with your parents and the way they parented you really can shape who you are as a person. I was lucky enough that my parents were authoritative parents, so we kind of both trusted each other, and I had a secure attachment to them where we trusted each other, and I knew the difference between my parents being my friend and my parent, but there were still rules, and I still knew where the line was. But I also had friends in high school whose parents were permissive and wanted to be their best friend and gave them alcohol earlier. They got into drugs earlier, early sexual activity because their parents were saying yes to everything, and that definitely affected them later on in life. But there's also the other side where I had friends who were, their parents were authoritarian, which is super strict, and they hid everything from them, and that caused a lot of anxiety, anxious attachment to their friends, and disorganized attachment. Sometimes they were around and able to tell us stuff, sometimes they weren't because they were so used to just the back and forth, and it can really affect you later on in life, and I think that can be a huge cause of what I'm going to talk about next. But learning about these attachment styles and the way that my friends were parented growing up, it can really show you a lot about why they act the way that they do in friendships or relationships, and it's really eye-opening. I can definitely use this a lot later in life. I want to be a therapist or psychiatrist, so this is kind of just the basis of why people feel the way that they do, because I think childhood and how your parents' style of parenting you can really affect you later on, and I think that this class really opened my eyes to that. Again, kind of on the same track, behavioral problems like risk factors, anxiety, depression, all of those things that adolescents can go through, I think can kind of reflect from your childhood. They also can be from biological factors, and I personally struggle with anxiety, and I was lucky enough to have parents who parented me very securely, and I trusted them, and they helped me cope with it a lot. But I never understood really why I felt this way, so knowing that a lot of adolescents feel anxious, or just insecure growing up, really made me feel like it wasn't alone, and it opened my eyes a lot to like why I might feel this way, and I think it could just be like outside factors, just like growing up. The next concept that I want to talk about are the 4 stages of moral development, because this kind of helped me understand when and why people figure out what's right from wrong. For example, not everybody makes decisions based on moral judgment right away, so I think that can help me from judging other people, but also understanding why sometimes I make impulsive decisions as well. I think learning about these concepts could help me think more critically and act more fairly, especially in a professional setting. When I'm working with clients who are dealing with things, I definitely want to be careful with what I say, because everybody has different perspectives of things, especially in that different understandings of their moral development. And lastly, what I found most important about this class was learning the difference between fake self, real self, and ideal self. The project we did on this was one of my favorite things we did this semester because it was really important to me. I came all the way from Massachusetts to Alabama for college, and it was really scary because I did have such a good relationship with my parents, but I definitely wanted to branch out. I had the same friends all through life, so I was like, I don't know how I'm ever going to be able to make friends because I was so securely attached to those people, and I didn't really have any issues with trust or anything with them. I was really lucky growing up. But coming here made me realize that all people have different things going on, and the person that I am, I know who I am, and those things that I want to keep about myself, I can keep because I know those qualities, and this class helped me recognize those qualities that I do want to keep, but it also helped me recognize the front that I put on meeting new people, and that necessarily when I do become my ideal self, which has helped me kind of morph my ideal self and real self together, my fake self will no longer be as present, which I think is super important for me because I definitely do try to be the best version of myself in front of others, but once I truly feel like I am the best version of myself, I feel like I will be a lot happier. So to sum up, I am really glad that I took this class this semester. It helped me learn a lot about myself and my parents and my family, and I actually have an older sister, so I was able to share the fact with her that the sibling relationship is the longest that you have in life. I thought that was a super cool fact. Going along with that, the slideshows were always informative and very entertaining and interesting to me, especially with me wanting to be a therapist or psychiatrist in the future. This is kind of the basis of learning why people are the way that they are, especially in the adolescent stage. It is such a shaping time period for life, so it really helped me open my eyes to who I want to be, why I am the way I am, how my parents raised me, and also just like my anxiety that I cope with is very normal, and a lot of people, especially during the adolescent age, deal with it. And I think just reading that and hearing about that was very helpful for me to understand that I wasn't alone in this, and there are so many factors that can contribute to why you are the way that you are, but knowing them and knowing that you're able to change those things is super important, and I really enjoyed this class. Thank you.